Come here, Alexa. Let's see how you look.
I feel silly. I've never worn a skirt before.
It's actually a kilt, but I'm sure you look great. I mean, you can't wear a pantsuit forever, so get out from behind that piece of paper. Let's go. Come on out.
All right, fine.
Hey, look at you. You look great.
Wish I could say the same about you.
Hey, what do you mean? What's wrong with this look?
The fact you put a kilt on is an eyesore.
Hey, listen, this is to honor the Scottish heritage and pay homage to Roddy Piper. Did you know he actually gave Ronda Rousey his blessing to carry on that iconic look that he had?
I just hope you at least are wearing underwear underneath that.
Wait, was I supposed to wear chundies under this? Oh, yeah, it's a bit drafty in here, wouldn't you say? Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now, in celebration of WrestleMania 38 coming up, and her big match against Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title, I wanted to do a deep dive, in-depth review of Ultimate Edition Series 1 Ronda Rousey. Now, in the past, I have reviewed a couple Ronda figs. I've done a figure history of Ronda Rousey. But when it comes down to it, I've never taken a deep, up-close look and review of her Ultimate Edition figure, which is crazy to me. So what better time than now? Now, with that being said, let's take a closer look at this figure. I'm really excited. WWE Ultimate Edition Series 1, Ronda Rousey. This attire is from Wrestlemania 34, which took place on April 8th, 2018 in New Orleans, Louisiana. On this night, Ronda Rousey made her in-ring debut in the WWE, teaming up with Kurt Angle and defeating the team of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Alright, so we are going to do things a little differently in this video, simply because I don't have this figure MOC. You know, I got this Ultimate a long time ago, early on in the channel, and opened it without even thinking twice, and I did since then acquire a second one that is loose complete. So I am able to make her two main looks that you can make with this figure, and that's kind of how we'll review them and how I'll display them to you. The two basic looks that you can make with this figure. But right in front of us here is everything she comes with. So she comes packaged in the box in her ring attire with fist in that angry face. And then we also get two additional heads. We get this real smiley one with the hair over the shoulder, which I have a great idea for that I'll show y'all later. And then we have this smiling face scan in the ponytail. So this simulates her entrance attire and the entrance look if you want to display her like that. But if you display her in the ring, you can give her this angry face. Now the other accessory she comes with is she comes with two semi-open hands. She comes with her kilt. And then she comes with this jacket torso. And what's really nice is she comes with these jacket arms. Now that's important because these sleeves are moldable, durable. You can articulate them really well, so it looks really good. Now, that being said, let me show you this figure all dressed up in her entrance gear, and we'll start off with that one first. Alright, so for her entrance attire look, I did go with the ponytail smiling scan because it does really represent her bubbly entrance that she had where she was real smiling, she meant business. But, you know, it's WrestleMania, so you can't really blame her. So I think they did a great job here capturing her gorgeous smile. They even have her little birthmark under her eye. I really like this ponytail and the intricate detail of the braid on both sides kind of going back into the ponytail itself. And overall, the likeness is really good. Now, it is important to note, once again, as I always say, make sure the scan's printed on right, because of the 6 scans that I got between two Ultimates and Ronda, I'd say 3 of them, so half of them are pretty wonky. So this one does look good though. I'm happy to have it on this entrance attire look. Now there are a couple disclaimers before I give a closer look at this figure. First off, she has no peg holes on the bottom of her feet. Now, this could be an issue because Ultimate Edition figures, especially the women's figures, tend to have a real loose toe joint here. And when that happens, it makes it really hard for the figure to stand. However, I am happy to say that both my Ultimate Edition Rondas have pretty firm ankle joints, so they do stand really well. But that's a little disconcerting that if that joint is loose on your Ronda, it's probably not going to stand like at all. And another disclaimer is I pulled this jacket back a little bit. I was going to do a transformation. And yeah, the jacket kind of bonded to that paint on the top. Now, I have a pretty good temperature controlled house that this figure's been in, so it hasn't been out in the heat or anything, so that's a little disconcerting that that paint kind of bonds to each other and it can pull away the paint on the top. So when I started doing the switching, I said, you know what, I'm going to review this figure in two different forms, the entrance attire and the ring attire. So that's why I'm not doing the switching. Also, it's important to note that these arms and the heads, they are meant to be swappable, so they are easier than normal Elite figures to swap out. I just wanted to let y'all know that, but I'm not going to do that because I really don't want to ruin this figure or the other one. Now, looking at this awesome jacket accessory, so obviously this piece here is kind of like a vest. It goes right on, and then the arms swap out like I just mentioned. And these jacket arms are awesome. And what's really awesome about them is unlike most Mattel figures that have jackets that kind of stand like this and they're stuck in this position when they're wearing the jacket, this one, because it's a swappable arm part, has full articulation. It can go in all different directions. It looks a lot more lifelike than those jacket molds. And I know they're trying to fix the, material of the jacket with that upcoming Elite 93 Seth Rollins coming out. The jacket's supposed to be different. But either way, I like the molded jacket sleeves that you can swap out a lot more. The articulation is great. And then moving on down here, we have this kilt that sits on there rather nicely. It just fastens in the back. And yeah, so this is the look I went with for the first look of the Ronda figures. And yeah, I think this one really stands out. Truth being told, this is how I had it displayed on my Ronda shelf. I have every Ronda figure. This is how I had it displayed for a very long time since I first got it a year and a half, close to 2 years ago. And yeah, I haven't played with it or anything like that. So like I said, just keep an eye out for this happening to your Ronda. Now, with that being said, let me show you Ronda in her ring attire that you can also make with this figure. Alright, so for Ronda's ring attire look, I just kept that head that she came packaged with on because I think it really does a good job of simulating her kind of in-match look. So we get, once again, that really nice ponytail sculpt I like. And this time that scan is a more aggressive or intimidating type scan. And I love it. I think it really adds some intensity to this figure. I think it's great. I think the resemblance to Ronda is uncanny. And like I said, you have to make sure that it is printed on with that scanning technology almost perfect, or else it's going to look a little wonky. But this one looks great, and I'm really happy how it turned out. Now, looking at her ring attire here, there's not much to it, but it is accurate. Now, this top here is a completely unique sculpted piece here. Now, obviously, that Rowdy is just painted on, and check your figure if you have it on display. If you have this figure displayed with that jacket on, let me know if that paint is peeling away underneath that jacket or if it was just mine. But this one's not going to be wearing that jacket because I want this Rowdy nice and bright and yellow. Now, the sculpting also continues onto the back where even those straps are intricately sculpted, which looks great, and I love the little folds in that top. The bottoms are just plain black, but that works, and it's accurate. And then she has her short boots on, which look great. And once again, obviously, no peg holes. And this is the other Ultimate Edition I have, so the second Ronda Ultimate Edition. And yeah, she has pretty firm toe joints, unlike all my other Ultimate Edition women's figures, so I'm lucky there. What's also nice on both figures, actually, she has her signature little hand strap gloves, I guess you'd call them. That's very unique to her, and they look great. Now, I am going to point something out that I posted online before, and I got torn apart, but let me just throw a disclaimer and first off say, you know, in college, I majored in the medical field. I have a master's degree and everything, so I am familiar with the human body and the skeleton and musculature and everything to do with kinesiology and all of that, okay? So, with that being said, turning her around, y'all, her back looks like a modified ab torso resculpted. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, I think, you know, they're just trying to make her back look muscular. Okay, but here's the problem. The back almost has a six-pack here and is more muscular than the front. So you can kind of see, you know, with production how these are made, there's kind of a like fusion line in the middle. And I'm wondering, and I'm honestly onto something here in my mind at least, that they might have used a modified abdomen torso for her back. Now, like I said, I know they're trying to simulate a muscular back, but come on. Like, this dimple looks just like a belly button. And I know there are back dimples in, you know, the musculature in the back. And yes, that's what these simulate here. But this right there, that's not normal, okay? And also you can kind of see striation. So it really does look like someone heated up a six-pack torso and kind of molded it and said, okay, there's Ronda's back. It looks strong. But yeah, that to me just is really bonkers. And it looks a lot weirder in person when you're looking at it from different angles. It looks super bizarre. So yeah, I just had to throw that out there and see if anyone agrees with me because it does look really weird. But yeah, so that is Ronda in her ring attire. Alright, so here are the two versions that I chose to display side by side. Now remember, I have two Ultimate Edition Ronda Rousey, so I'm able to make her on the left here in her entrance attire from WrestleMania 34, and on the right, her ring attire from WrestleMania 34. And if it's possible for you to obtain two Ronda Rousey Ultimates, or if you already have one and can get another one for a good price, I would highly suggest it because getting to display this figure in her entrance and match form is pretty awesome. I love having these two on display on my Ronda Rousey shelf. Now, I did have, you know, the Ronda Rousey Ultimate comes with 3 heads, and this is the 3rd head. Now, what I did with that is I had an extra Ronda Rousey basic. It's actually a basic chase, and I swapped out the angry scan on that one and gave her this over-the-shoulder hair in her ring attire, and what this looks like to me is kind of the dolled-up Ronda Rousey at her weigh-ins. Kind of like her UFC weigh-ins, doing a pose there. I know she's wearing her boots and whatnot. It's not super accurate, but it's just a fun little mashup. You know, I'm not good at customization or figure customs. Mad respect to everyone out there that does them and does such a great job because I'm just not very good. But sometimes I like doing part swaps, and this one was so simple, and I love how it turned out. So once again, if you have this extra head floating around, you don't really see it matching with your Ultimate Edition Ronda on display, switch it out with a basic Ronda, and there you go. You got a pretty distinct, cool-looking Ronda for your Ronda shelf if you have one. Alright, so now let's dive into articulation. So like I said, having the arms removable and being able to switch out with the sculpted on sleeves is money. And having done that, we have that shoulder on a ball joint, can move in all different directions. We have an upper arm swivel. We have double jointed elbows. We have a wrist swivel, and it can also extend and flex pretty decently, even though it's part of that sleeve mold. Now the head, it moves pretty well, especially right to left, but it's kind of a little wonky when you move it in a circular motion. I think it's because these heads are really meant to be swapped out, and it makes it a lot easier so that ball joint that it's sitting on isn't exactly the firmest. She has that upper torso swivel where she can flex, she can side bend, okay with that jacket on. She has a waist swivel, her thigh is on a ball joint with that kilt on. She gets pretty good movement. She has a double jointed knee joint. Now her ankle rotates at the top of that boot. Oh boy, no, there we go. We have that toe joint that goes down, and then the ankle can rock side to side and go up and down. So even in her entrance attire, she has great articulation. But when you take that off, what we have here is the most articulate Ronda Rousey figure that you can ask for. I mean, just like the one with the jacket, except enhanced. She can move in all different directions, all over the place. You can really put her in as many poses as you can think of and put her in a lot of finishing moves. And yeah, this is just a great Ronda to have. And even though it might look better to display with her entrance gear on, it's just nice when she's in her ring gear because her articulation really shines and she can move all over the place. And here's one last look at WWE Ultimate Edition Series 1, Ronda Rousey. So overall, I give WWE Ultimate Edition Series 1 Ronda Rousey an overall score of a 9 out of 10. This, to me, is the best Ronda Rousey figure we have gotten, and she's had a lot of releases, and I'm sure she'll have more figures in the future as her run continues in the WWE, but as of now, this one is hands down the best. Now, I was a big fan of Elite 77, that SummerSlam wave. I thought that Elite was really cool and excellent in its own right, but the fact that we have this figure that you can make her in her entrance attire and ring gear in the same figure makes us hands down the best. I mean, I love it. And on top of that, the historical significance of this figure is unmatched to any other figure in my opinion. So this first wave with Ronda Rousey and the Ultimate Warrior, if that didn't sell well, who knows if that Ultimate Edition line would have continued. And I've been on record to say on this channel that the best figure that I've ever seen and the best women's wrestling figure that I've reviewed in LumberJillville is that Ultimate Edition Series 12 Alexa Bliss. And who knows if we would have gotten that figure if that first series didn't sell so well. So that alone makes this figure worth it, but honestly, this figure is excellent. And if you can find it out there for a good price, make sure you grab it. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. For a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews and bonus videos like this, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Also hit that bell for notifications so you know when my next video is posted. Now with that being said, I hope you have a great night, y'all.